What's up, guys? Thought that I'd jump on here real quick, catch these twilight, the golden hour, and give a little review on the AXP HD PE full coverage skid plate. So I am really liking this thing. If you saw my initial video, you saw that I didn't get it lined up correctly the first time. And you can see now I got it properly spaced out on the left side here, even with the right side, and it's very symmetrical. You just kind of had to manhandle it a little bit when you were tightening it down, kind of hold it where you want it and then crank it down underneath. I was concerned that this little tail protecting the exhaust wasn't going to be far enough back, but I think it's actually perfect. So yeah, just got back a few days ago from 255-mile off-road adventure, and my first initial riding impressions of this thing are that the bike is way quieter now. You wouldn't think that carbon fiber would resonate as much as it does, but I would say that it's pretty close to as loud as an aluminum skid plate. The aluminum or metal skid plate by far is the loudest as far as resonating the sound back up from the motor to the rider. And this HDPE polymer skid plate actually absorbs or dampens the sound. So the bike not only isn't as loud, because the engine is pretty loud in and of itself, and so anything we can do to reduce that noise is great, and this is a good step. Secondly, when you're throwing rocks up off the tire, that stock skid plate and the aluminum one, man, the sound when this massive skid plate gets hit by a big boulder that gets flung up off the front tire that might get stuck in your knobbies, that sound makes it sound like your skid plate just exploded. So the sound is not as loud with the rocks ricocheting. And then also I'm noticing that, I mean, we're not in the dead of summer anymore, but I think that this skid plate is actually allowing the bike to run cooler. And I'll show you why. Have additional venting going straight to your header pipe. And I know there are some venting on the stock skid plate, but also down below where it's still catching air, going right into where the header is. And then the skid plate is not as close to the motor and the header as the stock skid plate is. So it's allowing this motor to have better airflow. There's a good pocket of air down underneath the motor now. So yeah, initial impressions, I'm really liking this skid plate. Have not put it to the test as far as the rocks are concerned yet. So those rides are coming up here in the near future. Going to take it to some gnarly single track and off-road riding out here near Tucson. One thing I did notice is that because of these plates on the bottom that ride on the frame here, there's basically just a bolt going through, and this is the nut, and this is a big space to collect water. What I've done is taken hot glue and filled in all of those spaces so water can't collect there. So that's the only modification or upgrade that I've made to the skid plate. think the design is really good. And I think that with all the additional space down below there, you could easily store a tool roll or something to that effect. So yeah, guys, really liking it. Stay tuned for bashing it on some rocks in future videos. Thanks again to AXP Racing. These are available now. Snatch them up. I think it's a great alternative to the stock one and far superior to any of the metal skid plates. And I'm going to prove that and put these welds to the test. So come along for the ride. Thanks, guys.